We've got some shakeups on the Duke men's basketball coaching staff. Justin Robinson is heading to the Lake Show, yo. That's pretty awesome.
Hi, everybody. Dick Vitale. Hey, make sure you listen, man, to Locked On Blue Devils with J.J. Jackson. He's awesome, baby.
You are Locked On Blue Devils, your daily podcast on the Duke Blue Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the Locked On Blue Devils podcast. My name is JJ Jackson. It's so great to have you here with us today on Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. Locked On Blue Devils is your one-stop shop where we discuss everything going on inside the life of Duke athletics. We talk a whole lot about this Duke men's basketball team, what's going on with them each and every day. Also touch on some other topics across the world of Duke athletics. Kevin Connelly is going to join me on today's show as we've got to talk about the news of Justin Robinson leaving the Duke basketball coaching staff to become a member of J.J. Redick's Los Angeles Lakers coaching staff. Super exciting opportunity for J-Rob, so we'll touch on that here on today's show. Also talk about some of the Duke guys that are participating now in NBA Summer League that you're able to watch over these next few days and weeks. So a really exciting show that we've got planned for you here today. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to follow and subscribe to Locked On Blue Devils for free, wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Be sure to leave us a 5-star rating and written review. Like this video, share it with your friends if you watch us each and every day on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are so close to 4,000 subscribers. I can't wait to celebrate that YouTube milestone with all of you guys. Thank you so much for your constant support of what we do here with Locked On Blue Devils. So without further ado, I'm super excited to bring him on into today's program. The aforementioned Kevin Connelly joins me here on the show. July has arrived. I hope that you had a really good Independence Day holiday weekend, Kevin, and we've got a good show planned.
Yeah, I'm fired up for it, JJ. Thanks for having me again. Weekend was fun, but now ready to jump back into it.
Yeah, let's do it, man. We've got a lot to talk about, and over the weekend we got some exciting news if you're Justin Robinson and his family, as he's going to take the next step into the NBA. A couple of seasons ago, we saw Emile Jefferson go from assistant coach to an assistant coach for the Boston Celtics in the NBA. Now Duke sees their basketball director of player development, Justin Robinson, become the NBA player development coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. He's joining former Duke Blue Devil, current Lakers head coach, J.J. Redick there on staff.
Yeah, kind of crazy how everything ties into each other, but kind of, I think, even more surprising how underreported this was, and nobody really saw it coming. It absolutely came out of left field. In the post-game handshakes, when the TV cameras kind of caught it, of the Los Angeles Lakers' first Summer League game in the California Classic. And there's Justin Robinson shaking hands in the post-game handshake line. And it's like, wait a second, did everybody miss something here? And then it gets confirmed just minutes after by the Duke basketball social media account that Justin Robinson, in fact, is heading to the Los Angeles Lakers to be an assistant coach. And you know, on the outset, you don't think it's that big of a deal, but I think it is some sort of a big deal. Justin Robinson, if I remember correctly, came on the Duke staff in the middle of that 2023-2024 season.
Yeah.
And he kind of latches on as that director of player development, and then has a full year under his belt last season in 24-25. And you think he's going to have some similar type role this upcoming season, director of player development, continuing to work with some of the guys. He's been a really good piece as I guess he's not an assistant coach when he was with Duke as the director of player development, because the NCAA can kind of be sticklers for who gets that assistant coach title and so on and so forth. But yeah, I think deep down this is a loss for the Duke basketball team. Now, granted, there's been a lot of turnover with the coaching staff in Jon Scheyer's short stint. I mean, Justin Robinson is the fourth person to leave the coaching staff in this short amount of time that he's been a head coach. Obviously, Jay Lucas, we all know that he left to be the head coach at Miami. Emile Jefferson, you mentioned, leaves to be an assistant coach at the Boston Celtics. Justin Robinson now leaving to be an assistant coach with the Los Angeles Lakers. And then Will Avery, obviously, leaving after this past season from the Duke coaching staff. And we've documented very well and thorough the two additions that Jon Scheyer has made to the staff, and Evan Bradds, and then former Duke player Tyler Thornton also joins the staff this year. So a lot of twisting and turning among the coaching staff over the past couple of seasons for Jon Scheyer.
Yeah, I'm going to be really interested to see kind of how the chess pieces move from the Duke side of things in replacing J-Rob, and we can have that conversation here in just a moment. I will note, though, with Jay Lucas leaving after the conclusion of the regular season, prior to Duke's run in the ACC tournament and through the NCAA tournament run there, Coach Scheyer multiple times was very complimentary of Justin Robinson and what he helped Duke do on their Final Four run. His seat moved a seat closer to Coach Scheyer. He was always there at the end of the bench this past season for the Blue Devils right before he got to the coaches. And then all of a sudden, Coach Scheyer very complimentary of the young coach that he is and is becoming throughout Duke's tournament run. So his role did expand, and it was allowed to be expanded by the NCAA after Jay Lucas left for the NCAA tournament run.
Yeah, one thing I'll definitely say is at the college level, you see the impact of the assistant coaches a lot more than you do, say, at the NBA level. And that's not to say that guys like Emil Jefferson, Justin Robinson, and all NBA assistant coaches don't have major impacts on the team and on the players on those rosters, because they do. But for whatever reason, at the college level, maybe because those assistant coaches are much more hands-on on the court, right? When you're an assistant coach at the NBA, you're coaching professionals. They know what to do and how to come in and do their work. You're not really teaching them that many new things on the court. You're more game planning and coming up with strategies on how to win the game. In college, a lot of the responsibilities of the assistant coaches are to do on-court work, especially if you're a guy like Justin Robinson, when your title is the Director of Player Development. You are on the court working out. You are helping to run scout team in practices. So I don't want to overstate like the move here. I think it is going to be a loss, though, for Duke. And like I said, these assistant coaches do a lot of hands-on work with the players on the court.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about this move. What moves Duke could make next as they try to put together this coaching staff for the upcoming season. We'll continue that portion of our conversation with our good friend Kevin Connelly when Locked On Blue Devils continues here in just a moment. Locked On Blue Devils here today is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. The easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merchandise, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB and Locked On College, making it so easy to browse the app. They've got tons of Major League Baseball games happening right now. Again, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Locked On College, LOCKEDON COLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Game Time is a proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. All right, here we go. Kevin Connelly's back with me on the show today from Ball Durham. This is Locked On Blue Devils. We're talking about J-Rob heading to the Lakers to be on J.J. Redick's coaching staff as their player development coach. We'll get to some Duke in the Summer League stuff here in just a little bit. But, Kevin, I do want to talk here a little bit further about Justin Robinson and this move that he makes. I might be on to something here. I found it a little interesting that about a week or so ago, Duke made the return of the Brotherhood podcast with Caleb Foster in the host seat alongside Malik Brown. Excited about that. We had Ryan Young hosting it. Now we've got Caleb. I'm glad Foster didn't transfer, Kevin, or we'd have to figure out who's hosting this podcast, right?
Yeah, you're very right on that.
And so in that conversation, they fielded some questions from the fans that Duke MBB had put out on their Instagram. And one of the questions specifically was talking about the games, the basketball skills and playing games of members of the coaching staff. And Caleb and Malik the whole time talked about Coach Scheyer, Coach Dildy, Coach Carrawell, Evan Bradds, Tyler Thornton, even talked about Mike Schrage, who's the director of ops, a special assistant there to Coach Scheyer, the head coach, and did not mention Justin Robinson. And at that time, I thought it was a little interesting because there they were in the gym. You've seen over the last year, J-Rob still young, right? Still putting shots up, and the players were really complimentary of the role he had. And I was like, that at the time, I didn't think anything of it other than like, wow, they didn't mention J-Rob. And now I guess it's starting to make sense, Kev.
Yeah, it all makes sense. Because, I mean, like I said, he was on the scout team. He would help run the scout team this past season as a bigger body and a guy who has some professional basketball experience. But kind of what I was saying back in your first segment, JJ, is like this didn't happen overnight. Like I'm looking at the calendar on Sunday night, Justin Robinson didn't wake up with an offer to be an assistant coach for the Los Angeles Lakers and accept it, and that was it. Like this is something that's been going on for a very long time in the process. And like I said, I'm surprised that it went this underreported, where it took kind of people watching the Lakers Summer League game on TV to realize, hey, why is Justin Robinson as sitting in Laker gear on the Laker bench? Like, right. Is he doing this just for the summer? Why wouldn't he be at Duke? And then minutes after that post arrives on social media, then Duke confirms that he's leaving and going to the Los Angeles Lakers. So, not to say I think there was any bad blood in the departure or anything like this. Obviously, once you get an offer to be on the Lakers coaching staff, you're going to accept it. And
right.
I don't know what the relationship is like between JJ Redick and Justin Robinson. Obviously, you would imagine Justin Robinson has a ton of contacts and relationships in the NBA because of his father, who was one of the best NBA players in recent memory. Yeah. So, I just think it was a little bit weird how it kind of all unfolded. And you get that social media post from Duke in the middle of the night, just about on a holiday weekend.
Yeah, David Robinson, the Admiral, let's give him some love because obviously he was there in Cameron frequently when J-Rob was playing for Duke. We saw him at several games this past year and throughout the tournament run when Justin Robinson was just a coach on the staff. So loved kind of the family still being bought in. And Justin Robinson's always going to be a Duke Blue Devil through and through and a member of the Brotherhood. And we love his senior night performance against UNC. How can you not, man? And that team definitely got robbed of the COVID run and what they possibly could have done there in the tournament, man, when we look at the end of J-Rob's playing career.
And one thing JJ does want to clear up when I say, like, it's kind of weird how it was underreported. I'm talking there from both sides. Like, yes, you have a ton of people that cover Duke and are insiders for Duke basketball, but also on the other side, like, this is a coaching move that's happening on the bench of the Los Angeles Lakers, probably the biggest franchise in the NBA. Kind of like if there was a coaching change made on the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL. Even it was like a low-level assistant coach, it still gets reported somewhere among one of their beat reporters or something. So that's why I just said it was just a little surprising how it all unfolded and how it completely flew under everybody's radar.
So Duke is now in search of a player development coach. It's kind of hard to sit here and think about names possibly that could be a fit, Kevin. I think people would love, obviously, to stay within the Brotherhood. That's obvious. That's worked well over the years for Duke basketball. What I'm interested to see and try and figure out here is, again, we're being internet detectives in the offseason, Kev, when there's not as many availabilities with the head coach. We can't hear as much as you just alluded to. Coach Scheyer hasn't publicly spoke about Justin Robinson. Duke just put a graphic out there for the world to see that will actually, as I get Kevin on the show here, I'll actually show the world what exactly Duke posted for people to see Justin Robinson being announced as the head coach. So no quote yet from Coach Scheyer, but what I'm interested in is who replaces him. And a name that was brought up again in that conversation with Malik Brown and Caleb Foster was Jace McCain still being a part of the program. We've seen Jace McCain in practice photos over the last few weeks. The last 2 seasons, he was a graduate assistant, got his graduate degree from Duke. Typically, the NCAA has a rule where after 2 years as a GA, you've expired the shot clock there, and you've got to move on to another role or a different spot. I wonder what his role is going to be on this Duke basketball squad, because he's clearly still involved. He had tons of success in kind of the skill work that he did with his brother Jared, who's off playing in the NBA now. That's something that we'll get to learn over these next few days and weeks, is what exactly his role is. Does he slide into the player development coach spot on the bench for Duke, or do we see somebody else come in?
Well, JJ, it's funny, and I'm trying to look this up on my phone that you mentioned Jace McCain, because I saw a post on Instagram, but probably a week or two ago, of a recruiting event, and it was publicized that Duke was at this recruiting event. And when you look in the pictures of the Duke contingent, or I shouldn't even say contingent, of who was there representing Duke, it was Jace McCain. And I thought that was very surprising, because I didn't know.
Internet is interneting, Kevin. We're doing things, man.
Well, so like, I like, similar to you with the podcast, I didn't think anything of it. And
right.
like, just other than like, well, that's weird that he's out on the road at recruiting events, because I didn't think he was allowed to be, because he's not an assistant coach. And like, can he have contact with these certain players? And can he like officially be recruiting? And I'm trying to find the post now. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it on the move as we're talking about this. But that was interesting to me.
It's out there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's somewhere out there of a recent recruiting event. It might've been at the Philly Live, which I think was about 2 weeks ago. I'll continue to look as we go through the podcast here, but obviously that's a name that's been around the program that certainly could slide into that player development coaching role. You look back at least the recent history of player development guys on the Duke basketball staff, and you look first and foremost Nolan Smith, when director of player development wasn't really a big thing under Mike Krzyzewski.
Sure.
And Nolan Smith started as a special assistant to the head coach, and then kind of got promoted to that director of player development. And then obviously we see Justin Robinson come in as the director of player development under Coach Scheyer, the only one he's had in that position since he's been the head coach. One name everyone would like to see, Quinn Cook. I think that's an easy one that people would love. Duke ties, national champion at Duke. Would love to see him in that role. I'm sure there's others that I don't have off the top of my head right now, but I think I have to do a little bit more digging on this Jace McCain potential to be the next player development coach.
Help us out, Duke basketball fans. Let us know in the comments if you see anything. Find us on social media at LO_Blue Devils and so much more. Maybe it is an outsider coming in to help out Coach Scheyer and the staff as we move forward. All right, we're due for our final break here on today's show. We'll start to wrap up our conversation in just a little bit here on Locked On Blue Devils. Thank you so much for making Locked On Blue Devils your first listen and your first watch here today. For your second listen, do yourself a favor and make sure that you go check out The Portal Show. Locked On's very own Brian Smith has the latest rumors and portal entries that you need to be aware of to make sure you're up to date on all of the rapid changes within the college football landscape. Find The Portal Show wherever it is that you listen to your podcasts or on YouTube. Also, do yourself a favor and be sure to check out Locked On College Basketball with Isaac Shade and Andy Patton. They do a great job keeping you updated on everything happening in the world of college hoops. So do yourself a favor there. All right, as we continue to move forward on the program today, Kevin Connelly's back here with me talking about some big news with Justin Robinson heading to the Lakers to join J.J. Redick's staff. And we first saw this, as you said, Kevin, at NBA Summer League last week. You and I, we put a clip out there to the world of Duke basketball everywhere, all over the NBA. And funny enough, man, you start to look at Summer League, you're going to see a whole lot of Duke out there.
You are. I think everyone is very intrigued. I believe it's on Thursday is the Dallas Mavericks' first game. Cooper Flagg might be the only game he plays. I think I read somewhere that the expectation is he plays twice in Summer League before he shuts it down. But obviously he'll get the headlines of playing Con Knipple as well with the Charlotte Hornets and Sion James, Tyrese Proctor, Kaman Malawach, and then some of the other guys who were at Duke a couple of years ago still trying to latch on to an NBA team, and they'll get a lot of playing time as well. JJ, I want to finish our previous conversation, though, because your commercial break gave me the time where I needed to find this Instagram post and this picture. So I still think it was at the Philly Live AAU event, and it's for 2028 prospect, and that's still weird to say in my mind that we're looking at 2028 prospects. Aiden Carter plays for St. Joe's in New Jersey. And let's see if I can do this to your screen.
Yeah, there we go.
They say Aiden. I know it's backwards, but Aiden Carter, and it says shows out in front of Duke. And who's the guy right there in the Duke polo? That's Jace McCain. So I knew I found it. I knew I saw it. I wanted to get it for your viewers. But like I said, when I saw that, didn't think much of it other than, well, that's kind of interesting that's Jace McCain that's sitting front row at a recruiting event. And
we've seen him in practice photos that Duke has put out there on campus in Durham. Obviously this could be nothing, right? It's next level basketball. They're in Philly. Jared McCain, Jace's brother, plays for the 76ers, is rehabbing in Philly in spurts throughout the summer. Jared McCain, still, by the way, a YouTube vlogger, very entertaining if you folks want to go follow and support his work that he's got going on over there. But maybe it is something, Kevin. Maybe you and I are on to something here, trying to track down where exactly Jace McCain is up to.
Investigative Duke basketball reporters, JJ. That's what I like to call us.
That's what we do. All right, so Summer League. We've got, obviously, we're talking about the Lakers. DJ Stewart playing so well early on here for Los Angeles for the Lakers in Summer League. We've got Jack White with the Atlanta Hawks, Sion James and Con Knipple with the Hornets, Tyrese Proctor will be playing with the Cavs, Cooper Flagg with Dallas, Marquise Bolden still trying his best to make it officially into the league. He's going to play Summer League with the Warriors. Orlando has Wendell Moore Jr. after he was with the Charlotte Hornets a season ago. Come on, Malawatch there with Phoenix. And we've already seen a few games from Kyle Filipowski with the Utah Jazz, and people really liking what they're seeing out of a year two flip, a seasoned Filipowski. What do you make of some of these names in Summer League, Kev?
Oh, certainly it's going to be interesting to watch it. And you hear some of those names that maybe you forgot about that still are sticking around in Summer League and trying to make not only NBA rosters or G League rosters, but also trying to put together impressive performances to perhaps play overseas this upcoming year. So Summer League is a great time for some of these guys to be back on a national stage to an extent. A lot of these games are on ESPN and ESPN2 and NBA TV. So they get that national stage, that national audience with a lot of eyeballs watching. And I know for a lot of people, it's easy to make fun of Summer League. Like, oh, you're really going to watch Summer League basketball? You're really going to break down Summer League basketball? But this is a country that loves basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, the United States of America loves basketball. We love the NFL, and they love basketball, whether it be college basketball or the NBA. So, yes, it's going to get a lot of eyes on it. Yes, people are going to talk about it because you're in that time of the sports calendar where there's not many things going on to talk about. And we all have content that we have to get up, and that's the content that's given to us. So certainly hoping the best for a lot of those guys, and going to be interesting to see how they play, how much they play. But like I said, yes, the big headlines are going to be Cooper Flagg and the other draft picks, but some of those other guys that went to Duke that were second-round picks, late first-round picks, or even undrafted guys, certainly will be fun to watch as well.
And look, when people are talking, and when we have the opportunity to invest in rooting for these Duke players while they're in Durham wearing that jersey, it's so easy then to continue that and follow them on throughout their career. Saw news over the weekend. Want to give a shout out to Mason Gillis. Sounds like he's got a professional opportunity ahead of him in Belgium. So congrats to him on starting that next chapter of his professional career after coming over to Duke this season. So like you said, Kevin, summer is a time of news. We'll get more game results, obviously, once the fall arrives and we get into winter. But we're always grasping for something. And I know that you do a great job keeping up with all of that over at Ball Durham. Tell us about your work and how people can support you.
Yeah, Ball Durham, biggest way to support us is give us a read every single day. We got tons of content up there daily. So we really appreciate you guys coming over, reading, checking us out every single day, whether it's morning, afternoon, or night. You can get fresh content up there over at balldurham.com.
Kevin, be well, my friend. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks, JJ.
All right, that's Kevin Connelly joining us here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils. That's going to bring us to a close. Cheers to Justin Robinson for getting that next opportunity with the LA Lakers. What's next for Jace McCain and his role on this staff? Is there another director of player development for Duke basketball, all of those things to figure out in the days and weeks to come. As always, go Duke. I'll talk to you again soon. My name is JJ Jackson. Thank you and good day.